The title of this podcast is It's Been a Good Run. This is inspired by something that happened about 2 years ago. I lost a dear friend, and she was an important person in my life and many of the folks who I happen to be in a wellness community with. And we've been together, some of my friends and I for over 10 years. And this particular person, I've been together for almost 12. And she didn't let a whole lot of people into her inner circle, but she treated me like family. And when she passed, I really struggled with her passing. I grieved quite a bit, the first, 48 hours. And Rick and I were sitting down to do a podcast, and, I wanted to work through it. Well, I didn't know I wanted to work through it. I just thought that we would do a show on impermanence, about change, whether it's people, being born and dying, or life constantly changing. And I want to talk about that. And in that podcast, I came to a realization, and it was actually the practice flowing through me because I do the practice every morning, thankfully. And it was in that I was starting to talk about how every moment spent with this person, I was fully present. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't distracted. My mind wasn't off of wondering about something else, about me being right, about judging what, she was saying or not saying, and all of this other stuff. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just fully there with her every single time that we were together, like every time. And so when I look back on that, I have no regrets about the time that I spent, when we were together, or how I spent the time, because I was fully present and fully engaged with her. And that is something to celebrate, not something to lament. And what I found was that when I did that, and I was so clear about how I showed up, for me, and it's different for everybody else, but for me, the grief just fell away. As Michael Singer might say, I was holding this balloon I was tethered to. And with that realization that I had, with that deepening of consciousness about my relationship with her, I just opened my hand and released the string that had me tethered to the balloon, and it floated away, and it was gone. And the grief was replaced by peace and love and affection. And when I think about her now, it's so much less grief. And the majority of 99.9% of it, if not even more, now 99.999, is just love. Just so much love is present. And I thought that if I had this with her, why don't I do it with everybody? And so I've been practicing over the last year or so of doing that more with everyone in my life, whether it's the people that I'm closest to, who I know personally, have deep personal relationships with, people that I have relationships with that are cordial, professional, and friendly, or people that I meet one time, like a server in a restaurant or whatever. That I want to be completely present for that interaction. So if someone said to me, hey, we were having breakfast the other day, you remember the server that we met? Man, they moved away, or something happened unexpectedly that they passed away. Instead of saying, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, I'm like, oh man, like really, I hope their loved ones are okay. I'm sending them love and blessings. And I got to tell you, man, like, I had a great experience for those few minutes that they were our server, with them, because I was fully present. I learned where they're from and what they do, and why they like working here and what brings them joy. Like, I think they were an artist, right? Or they do this kind of volunteer work, right? Like that, because I was fully there for that relationship, and I want to be there for every one of my relationships. So at the end of the day, that I'm able to say, while that relationship has come to an end, which is a part of life, whether it's death or people part ways, that I can say it's been a good run, because I showed up fully in that relationship. No judgments, no withholding love, no closing my heart to them, no ending the relationship or the connection in and in a way that causes suffering or that withholds connection. I didn't do that, right? And the same thing goes for where I work or what my job might be. I talk about that, a couple months ago, we had something happen here at ToBeRe in which we, after several, like almost a decade of being in this space, we were told that we would have to leave in 30 days. And I remember, for a second, being like, what? And then I remember just lean back because my mind was about to just rattle off all kind of worst case scenarios. Where are you going to go? Rents to find another place in 30 days is going to be impossible. You got to pack all this stuff up and move all this equipment. And you got to do this and that. And, I can only imagine what the lease payment is going to be per month. And and I didn't do any of that because as soon as I felt that I just leaned back and like a cloud, all of that negative conversation just floated right by. And with it, there became a clearing. And then at clearing, I was like, well, if this is the end of the road of ToBeRe in this form, it's been a good run. I've learned so much. And the same thing with Mayo Clinic. I've been there for, coming up on 5 years in a volunteer fashion, contract employee, and now as a full-time employee. And in my time there, if they came to me to tomorrow and said, hey, Keith, we got to let you go, I'm like, it's been a good run. Like, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. I've grown immeasurably. I hope I've contributed something along the way, but I'm so grateful for this opportunity that I've had here. Like how I spent my last 5 years in this place. I couldn't imagine it being any different. Like it's been beautiful, wonderful. I want to be able to say that. And I encourage you to be able to say the same thing in all of your relationships, whether it's relationship coming to an end because of a divorce or some other reason, moving away, that you're able to say, hey, listen, we've come to this point in our journey together and that we're going to go separate ways. But I want you to know it's been a good run. I move in this direction, maintaining an open heart to you, of being loving and kind, and just know that connection will always be with me. And when I reflect on it, I will do so fondly. Like that's the choice, right? So how do you do that to where after every interaction, after every situation, with every relationship, you're able to say, it's been a good run? Practice. And it starts with doing it on a daily basis. So every night, in addition to doing my gratitude of counting the things that I'm grateful for and the people that I'm grateful for, I ask myself, what's a day a good run? And I got to tell you, since I've been doing this, since I've been intentional about it being a good run, every day has been a good run. Like I set out to make that to be like breathing for me. And here's the kicker, is that people still behave the same way. Some are conscious and kind. Some are unconscious and their behavior is unkind. That's their path. My path is no matter how they show up, I'm going to show up as loving, kind, open heart, and it's going to be a good run. Life is still not without challenges. Things happen all the time. But just like I said, with the situation with our studio space, that lease coming up to an end, I said that was a good run. And so all of that is a choice. And so I encourage you, I invite you to live your life in such a way, which begins with you working on yourself in such a way that you don't need life or people to be a certain way for you to be okay. To live your life in such a way that at the end of each day, you can say, it's been a good run.